Charlie Munger, one of the greatest investors to ever live, once said that compound interest is like a snowball rolling down a hill. The real trick, he said, is to start at the very top of the very long hill. The math says that to get rich, you have to invest early and you have to be consistent. Ironically, Munger's first rule of compounding was to never interrupt it unnecessarily. Well, I interrupted it. I broke the #1 rule of personal finance. For over 2 years, specifically 769 days, I didn't contribute a single dollar into my 401k or my IRA. I didn't just slow it down, I stopped completely from the hill entirely. In this video, I'll share why I made that choice, what I learned along the way, and what happened to our investments. Did it go up? Did it go down? And by how much? On paper, 3 years ago, I was winning. I was a recent grad at a prestigious accounting firm. I was checking all the boxes for the life that you're supposed to want, right? To my Asian mom, I wasn't just an accountant. I was the trophy. I was the son that she could brag about to all her friends, and I had a stable career and a maxed out 401k. I was 40 years from retirement, and I'm already too tired to enjoy it. Behind the scenes, that prestige was a lie. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week. I was stressed to my limit, and I was desperate for a way out. I look at all my coworkers, people that were 10 or 20 years ahead of me, and all I saw was misery. They were overworked, underappreciated, and just stressed out of their minds. And I realized I was on my way to retirement, but at the cost of my health and my sanity. I didn't want to be like them, so I had to find a way out. That way out was starting my own business from zero. For 2 years, I worked 2 full-time jobs. My life was like a loop. Wake up, go to the office, come home, and grind on the business until midnight. Weekends didn't exist. I was working 80 hours, chasing a future that I could hope would come true. And here's the reality. New businesses don't make a dime in the beginning. 95% of them fail in the first year. And I was mentally drained, caught between a soul-sucking job and a high-risk startup. I was at a crossroads. I wanted more than just surviving until age 60. I needed to pour every single resource that I had into my business to make this work. I did just that. So I made a choice that every finance professional would call a disaster. I stopped contributing to my retirement entirely. I stopped betting on the S&P 500 and I started betting on me. Now, before we get into the actual numbers, I want to be clear. I'm not sharing this to brag or to show off. I'm sharing this to show you the actual numbers and what happens when you invest consistently. As an accountant, I just enjoy seeing the numbers, and I just want to share with you my journey and my experience thus far, and just show you what's possible when you let compounding do its magic. Okay, so what actually happened to my retirement account? So in January 2024, we stopped contributing, and at that time, the balance was $141,000. Since then, we haven't contributed a single penny to the accounts. In fact, some months we actually withdrew from the account just to put a down payment for a new home for me and my family. And this is to avoid a high interest payment. Even with zero contributions and active withdrawals, our balance grew from $141,000 to $217,000. That's $76,000 of growth. So instead of using that money for my retirement accounts, that extra money went straight to my business. So I just let the money in that account compound. Since I stopped, the S&P 500 has had a historic run, returning roughly 45% in that window. And my portfolio didn't hit the full 45% because I was withdrawing cash from my home, but it still proves the point. Once you build a big enough snowball, it can survive some interruptions. It can even survive you taking a few shovels of snow off the top. And that's the power of compound interest. So there you have it. That is the power of compound interest. It gives you the one thing that money is actually for: options. Most people focus on the symbols of wealth. That doesn't really matter, like the cars, the status, the job titles. But they miss out on the substance, freedom, having an impact, and creating memories and spending time with your friends and family. If you want to understand the mindset shift that allowed me to walk away from a prestigious accounting job and start building wealth on my own terms, check out this next video. See you there. Click it. See you there. Click it. Yeah, click it.